Popcorn Hero Show, and today we're reviewing Hellboy. I am your host, Orlando, and with me today, as always, is Pedro.
Hello, hello.
What up, what up? And like always, we're going to give a quick spoiler-free review of the movie, and then we're going to jump right into the spoilers. So, Pedro, take it away. What'd you think?
Let me do the quick summary. So the quick summary is Hellboy. There's not much to say about this one. Actually, he is a demon that gets summoned and raised by humans, and he gets raised into this group called the BPRD that they pretty much hunt monsters. So the premise of the movie is pretty much this blood queen gets released onto the world, and the BPRD, along with Hellboy, have to go in and stop her. It's pretty much the gist of it.
Yeah, pretty much. That's a good summary.
So, so here's the thing with this movie. This movie got totally shitted on.
Yeah, it's currently at, what, critics. A 14% Rotten Tomatoes?
Yep. It is, let me look at this right here. Yep, currently 14% on the tomato meter, and I think that is criminal.
Yeah, with a budget of $50 million so far, within 2 weeks, it's made $30 million. So it's not gonna.
It was made with $50 million?
Yeah, it's
not. Thank God. I thought it was hitting the $200 million route. Like
I mean, it kind of show a little bit, kind of hints at the fact that it didn't cost that much because that CGI though. But other than
you're right.
Other than that, if anything, they're gonna break even, so that's not too bad.
Yeah, but it's not enough for a sequel, unfortunately,
no,
because as you're gonna find out, I actually enjoyed it. I'm one of the others that, strangely enough, the CG was horrendous. I'm not gonna deny that. But I loved David Harbour as Hellboy. I actually really liked it, and his banter with his father figure. This guy right now, I just blanked out on his name right now. Ian McShane. I thought it was pretty good too. And it just had this weird, fun, like cheesy, campy is the word I'm looking for. It had this like fun, campy, like vibe to it. And so what it really reminded me of was like Van Helsing. So Van Helsing is not really a great movie, but to me, if it's on, I'll watch it because there's just something stupid and fun about it.
Yeah.
And I felt the same with this. So it's like, it's a good, dumb popcorn flick. And it was so true to the comics. And the thing with the comics is there's so much shit in the comics that happens that you just kind of scratch your head and go, what the fuck were these people smoking when they wrote it? And all those moments, a lot of those moments are in the movie. So when everyone's scratching their head, I'm just like, they threw that in there. I didn't think they'd be ballsy enough to throw that in there, and they totally did. It's just fucking bizarre. So I'm going to actually give it a 3 out of 5 because I genuinely liked it.
Yeah.
It's not a great movie, but to me, it was enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I'd watch it if it's on TV. So, yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah, I'm around there. I'm like about 2.5, 2.7. Like, I'm pretty much out of 3. Like, I'm around there. I did not hate it. I really do not agree with the criticism it's gotten from a lot of people. Like, I think even the parts that people are like zany, like the parts you talk about in the comics, the way it's written in the movie, it makes sense. It's not like they're going from like destination to destination. It doesn't make sense. Like, it all ties in really well. I mean, it's a bit fast paced, clearly.
It's fast paced, but it all ties into the art.
It all ties in, so it's not nothing that like it's out of left field if you're not, if you're paying attention. And I think it would have made a better series.
I agree.
Than a movie. That's what it is. Definitely. I think some moments, like one moment could have been literally one episode, and another moment could have been, this easily could have been a good 8 episode, 10 episode.
If they would have made this like an Amazon series or something, I think it would have been great. For some reason, I felt like Amazon would pick this up. I don't know.
I think it would have been a good show, honestly. I think it would have been a good show.
A better miniseries than a movie, definitely.
Especially with David Harbour as a lead. As a lead, like, and I think people are more easily acceptable at binging shows. Yeah, because they're already there. So I think as a show, I think it would have done better. But regardless, I liked it. I didn't hate it. I thought it was a good movie, and just because all the backlash it got, I decided to watch Hellboy 1 recently.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and
it's been a long time since I've seen that one, so how was it?
Honestly, like, it's an old movie.
I remember it being overrated as fuck.
It came in 2004, so for a 2004 movie, it's pretty good.
Okay.
It's pretty standard. Comparing the two, David Harbour's and
Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman, I like Ron Perlman's delivery more. He's more... It's more funnier. Like, he's more like laid back with it. Like, he has more, like, he's more witty. Like, the banter with him is more witty. Okay. They both have some character flaws, but it kind of makes sense in each movie. And when we get to spoilers, I'll bring up the Hellboy original movie and what I thought about it. But yeah, CGI in this movie was terrible. Agreed. And once again, I just saw the 2004 movie, and they kind of like on par with CGI, which it shouldn't be, because
you're right. It really shouldn't. I remember the CG being really bad in the 2004 one, even the ending sequence.
But it wasn't too bad. But I mean, compared to now, it's on par with that movie. So yeah, the CGI wasn't that good. So yeah, let's get into spoilers. Let's get into it, guys. So
check it out or don't check it out. It's up to you. But I enjoy, if you like dumb, silly, campy, like, you know, monster mashes, then definitely I recommend it.
And like, for example, like, I didn't like Captain Marvel that much, and this sits around that kind of feeling. I had like, this is middle of the road, pretty good,
right?
Not great.
There's better stuff out there,
obviously. Yeah,
but
clearly.
Since it's on, why not?
Yeah.
Okay.
And at this point, like, if you would ask me which one to pick, you've seen Marvel movies left and right by now, and there's the formula. Go watch Hellboy. Like, that's my feeling. Like, if you haven't seen Captain Marvel and you are like, oh, Captain Marvel or Hellboy, watch Hellboy.
Nice.
Because you haven't seen something like this before.
Yeah, definitely. So, this is really balls to the wall craziness.
Especially with the story and how a lot of things are going on. Watch this instead. Watch something different. Yeah,
it's really out there. So if you enjoy what the fuck scratching your head, then definitely, because I certainly did.
So let's get into those what the fuck moments, Pedro.
All right. Well, okay, so the story kind of starts with a lot of exposition, like pretty much the Dark Ages, the Blood Queen Nimue, and the whole King Arthur thing. And a lot of people are probably thinking, what the fuck does King Arthur have to do with any of this Hellboy stuff?
Yeah,
but
it ties in.
I've read the comics, so the King Arthur thing is a big part, because we find out later his lineage, but and the whole Excalibur thing. And then it cuts over to Hellboy in Tijuana, which is another comic where he's in Mexico and he's fucking drunk out of his mind. And so many years you're trying to figure out what the hell did he do in Mexico, and they finally released a comic about what it was.
Right.
And that's what the opening sequence is. Like, his partner or one of his partners are there. They were undercover to, like, you know, get the vampires, and he becomes a vampire, and he's a luchador vampire. So he has to jump in and fight him and pretty much just like kill him the same way, like stabbing him with the pole of the wrestling match. And I was just like, holy shit, they're adding all of this in here. I thought that was pretty fucking neat. Yeah, it's, you know, cheesy and weird or whatever, but
I thought it was fine. Yeah, I thought that was fine. I mean, as someone who didn't read the comics, I felt like it was a big comic book, basically.
You know what? That's probably why I think this felt more comic booky than the other movie. Yeah, from what I remember of the other movie.
The other movie had a it's very easy to follow. Like, there's one villain. Mm-hmm. There's one main villain. There's multiple villains. They're doing one thing, and that's it. So it's very easy to follow. There's not like a lot of destination moving around.
Yeah. There was a lot of moving around here.
Oh, this is a ton.
Yeah. The thing is so the Hellboy comics are very short. So this movie really combined like 4 or 5 of the comics.
Right.
Yeah. Of course, they're all sequels of each other, so it all ties in. So this was pretty much like one long story arc that they turned into a movie. It felt rushed, sure, but you know, it was fine as it was. So so after that Tijuana story, he comes back home, you know, fighting with his dad or whatever. Yeah. And I kind of liked his so if I remember correctly, in the original movie, the main reason why he's so like grouchy and like emo is because it's like he won't find love, or like, I'm a monster who's gonna love me type shit.
So they're both of them have like their teen angst kind of thing, like their thing that they're hung up against.
Right.
And
but if I remember Ron Perlman's, it was more about love.
Ron Perlman was like, I'm a monster, and he loved Liz, which had to be the pyro character basically. And so she's like, well, who's gonna love me? Because look at me, I'm a demon.
See, I hated that. I remember, and that's not in the comics at all. Which is funny enough. When I saw the original movie, I didn't read the comics yet.
Right. And so
even in the movie, I'm like, yo, this is whiny as fuck. I don't like it.
So they're both like a lot of the criticism not a lot of the criticism I read. Maybe I read a few articles. I didn't really like the dynamic of like his dad and him.
Really?
Like bantering, like, they're pretty much at odds with each other.
Right. I actually enjoyed it.
But I thought it made sense.
Yeah. So, Dad, you're killing all these monsters. Why save me? Exactly. And then you're making me kill my own kind, essentially.
Right, exactly.
So it's like you're an asshole.
Yeah,
you created a soldier, not a son.
Right, and they didn't explore that in the original Hellboy. Like I said, it was just him I'm on this mission. Cool.
It was more of a Beauty and the Beast thing. Like, oh.
Yeah, more of Beauty and the Beast. So they're both.
Don't look at me.
So they're both hung up on two different characters. Basically, David Harbour is like this teen angst with his dad, and Ron Perlman's character is like stuck on his girl. So they both have like their like dilemma. But I like Ron Perlman's delivery more. He's more witty, and I guess maybe it allowed. He's not going through so much, like in that, like he's not reflecting on himself so hardly.
Yeah, like this one was more.
Yeah, like this one was. He had some jokes here and there, but nothing like too wild.
It was more of him reacting to the situations more than anything. Like the fuck.
Yeah, and Ron Perlman's character, I guess, is like. It's like when his character was more...
He's more like, whatever.
And he was more comedic. And I'm not sure it was because maybe like, well, I'm ugly, I have to be funny. I don't know how they wrote it like that. But it was just, he was more comedic, way more funnier. And I did enjoy him. What I liked about David Harbour's Hellboy is how grungy he looked.
Yeah.
Like, so, like I said, I watched both movies literally like almost back to back. And I saw Hellboy on like Wednesday, and I saw the old one on a Friday. Okay. So I watched it back to back. And Ron Perlman's Hellboy is clean cut. Like his horns are nicely.
Everything's perfect.
Everything's perfect, and you could tell like they just put like red on his face and his body, and that's it.
That's the thing. They're like, oh, I don't like the prosthetics for David Harbour. Ron Perlman's prosthetics were bigger. I'm like, that's Ron Perlman's face. Yeah. That's not prosthetics.
And David Harbour's face looked like he got like bad plastic surgery. It looked like he got beat the fuck up. Yeah. So it makes sense. It's like he probably been through his head and body had been like pretty much smashed to smithereens.
And I kind of liked how they showed his horns were growing, so he had to like sand them off. Little details to show that he's organic, even though of course he looked fucked up.
And so I thought it was actually pretty good in that sense. And I did like.
And his teeth were fucked up. I just liked it. He just looked like an actual ugly demon.
He looked grungy, like gritty.
They didn't try
to pretty him up.
Yeah, beautify him to be like the super heroic. It's like this guy's a fucking demon at the end of the day. Like he's ugly and he's fighting his own kind.
It's funny because Ron Perlman's character was telling Liz, because that's his love interest. He's just like, look, I can promise you that I always look this good. And he's a buff character, and obviously he looks like a demon, but not ugly like David Harbour. He's still chiseled. He's still so he looks like a pretty demon.
Yeah, like even David Harbour's arm, even the arm looked all fucked up. It just had like this raggedy look. I actually enjoyed that.
I did enjoy that. So I did like their banter. I understood why.
And the dad at the end, they was like, "Stop being such a little bitch." Yeah, like, it was always so funny.
I saved you. Yeah,
it felt like a teenager with a dad.
It made sense of why he was so hung up on his dad, and especially with the work he's doing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I like that. And so in the plot line also goes into this Osiris club that they hunt giants. So they bring Hellboy along to go hunt the giants.
It's basically the British version of the BDGR, whatever group.
Yeah, the BPR in a way, but just for giants.
Yeah. So they do that. And then
that was another part in the comics that I'm like, oh, fuck, they're bringing in the giant hunt.
Yeah. And it makes sense. It makes sense of like, as when you're watching the movie, like this guy literally fights demons. It would make perfect sense that the British is asking him to
just tag along and fight all this other shit. And I like that they added that. So I guess what I loved and at the same time I felt like was the downfall of the movie was that it tried so hard to do world building. it was like, hey, we got fairies here. Hey, we got giants here. Hey, we got demons. Hey, we got witches. We got zombies. We got everything. Like, you name it, we got it. We got vampires. We got, and they threw it all in there, and it was overwhelming for people. I love that they did that, but it also was a lot. Like, it really was a lot. But I did like the fact that they showed, hey, this is the world. The world is all this craziness. So I loved, and at the same time felt like, damn, they put maybe a little too much.
Yeah, I mean,
and of course the giant CG was
terrible, just terrible,
horrible. But there, like I said, it just brought me back to, like, I feel like I'm watching Van Helsing again. Like, this is terrible, but there's just something fun about it.
Right. Like,
it's not taking itself seriously. The movie really didn't take itself serious.
No, it didn't.
And I felt like that's what made me like enjoy it so much. I like that they brought in the whole like fairy storyline with like the Alice medium, and I'm glad they didn't, because in the comics they kind of hint at like a love thing between him and Alice. I'm glad that the movie totally just cut that completely, like all love shit out the window.
Yeah, it was just, it
would have been too fucking weird.
It kind of would, especially since he
saw her as a baby.
Yeah,
it was weird when I read it in the comic too. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Like, you saved her as a baby. It was kind of weird that they made her one of the main characters of the BPRD, but you know, that's fine. For this story, it made sense for this movie.
It made sense because like everyone he's talking to pretty much either hates him or doesn't like respect him.
Oh yeah,
and this is the only person he could kind of.
She's the only one that vouches for him.
Yeah, so it makes sense that she's on along for the ride.
And then they introduce everyone to Ben Daimyo, which is Daniel Day Kim from Hawaii Five-0 and Lost.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I'm glad he's doing something, you know, now that he got kicked out of Hawaii Five-0, you know, for not getting paid enough. But then I saw this movie and getting a sequel, so I'm like, bad choice, buddy. I'm so sorry. But I actually really like this character. He was the hard ass, you know, and then he becomes a fucking
cheetah boy, basically.
Yeah, pretty much a leopard werewolf, which they made him a lot smaller than the comic counterpart, but that's fine. You know, CG probably would have been just as weird anyways. Yeah. But he's supposed to be a big fucking like giant lichen like thing, but
yeah, I thought it was pretty. Most of the characters are cookie cutter in a sense, and I thought
they got the like the archetypes. Yeah, you got the hard ass, you got the you know, the one that's the angsty one, and then you have this chick's more like the I don't know, the glue. Kinda brings them together.
Kind of like the one that like is the voice of reason in the group.
Yeah, she kind of was the voice of reason, yeah, for sure.
So I felt like his character was very just, you know, militant. You know, I've always been a soldier kind of guy, and, you know, I did like it. I just thought it was just very cookie cutter in the sense of like...
One of the plot points that they added that shouldn't have been added yet, they kind of should have just saved it for a sequel, was Baba Yaga. Like, as far as the main plot, she wasn't really needed.
Yeah, and that was weird because
I felt like they put her in there as a setup for the sequel, and I think that fucked up on screen time that was needed.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, because she was, you know, Hellboy took out her eye, and then she becomes a villain later on. Right. She's a reoccurring villain in the series, but she didn't really play anything in the climax. It was just like the fight in the house, the Baba Yaga house.
Yeah, she kind of leads him to the witch, basically. She's kind of like a plot device for you to get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
And that's it. And so I kind of understand. And that's why people probably were like, this is way too much.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Once you added that in, it's like, what the fuck? And then, but it kind of makes sense because she is in cahoots with the witch. And so it's just like, she wants her eye back, but she also like wants Hellboy like dead. Like she can work for both fields. She can get what she wants from both people. So she kind of plays that game, which makes sense. It makes sense. And as a plot device, it literally gets you from point A to point B.
Right. But I just felt like they probably could have came up with another way for.
Right. I agree with you. Like she probably, out of everything that's happened in the movie, she probably wasn't needed.
Yeah, she probably
for sure. And you said it's easy because she even said like, oh, we'll meet again. Like this isn't over, basically.
Yeah, it pretty much was. You know what she was? She was the Black Manta of Aquaman in this movie. Yeah. Like it's like they threw you in there, but you really weren't needed for this movie. You're pretty much a setup for the sequel. I felt like she was that version of this.
Yeah, agreed.
Definitely. And I guess it's just a bunch of more like random shit, and essentially all as a setup to get them to fight the witch. The witch. Well, actually, before that, they have the whole meetup with Merlin, and this is where you find out the big The big secret.
reveal, right?
The big reveal, which they did it really quickly. Like, a lot of people were really confused. I knew the story already, so I'm like, oh yeah, it's kind of cool they mentioned it. But they mentioned it so fast. With no setup? I don't know, it's strange.
It was really quick, but also, and like I said, like I understand the criticism, like there's so much going on.
Yeah.
But
it's bloated.
It kind of goes back to the beginning sequence where you see King Arthur, and it's like, why is King Arthur here?
It's true.
Who cares?
Yeah.
So Excalibur is the only way to kill her. Okay. So why is this important?
Why is this important? Right.
And then it ties back into like he is literally the spawn, an heir to King Arthur.
Yeah. Pretty much his mother was an heir to King Arthur.
King Arthur's daughter, basically.
He got jiggy with the king of the demons. So he is a king in the human world and a king in the demon world.
Right.
So in the comics, that was a big part. He's pretty much like he's being pulled in both directions. Like, which legacy should I choose? And he chose, of course, humans.
Right.
Because, they actually loved him in a way, sort of, but compared to the demons. But yeah, so they pretty much use that. Like, if you get the Excalibur, you'll set off this whole prophecy and you'll kill everybody and whatnot.
Yeah, basically, like, by accepting Excalibur, you submit to who you are.
Right.
And so then you submit to, like, the demigods and the demons coming from hell and basically starting the apocalypse. Which happened in the original Hellboy as well.
So Mila Jovovich as the queen. The queen really wasn't that interesting a character in the comics either. She was very cookie cutter as well. Right. But there's just something about Mila Jovovich being in a cheesy film, because I've been seeing her in all the
Resident Evils.
The Resident Evil. So I'm just like, oh, you're right at home. Yeah. And then your line delivery is like, yep. Yeah. You're really enjoying this right now.
Yeah, she's probably
she's like a B star.
She's like a B actress, but gets A-list roles.
That's it. She has the acting ability of B-listing and in B-list movies, but for some reason they're all A movies in a way.
Yeah, they always give it to her. Yeah,
right.
And I thought she was fine. I thought she was literally like, the only thing that was kind of weird was like her henchman, the hog,
the pig. Yeah. They didn't really explain it that much. They glazed through that, but it was
pretty much he's like a shapeshifter.
Right.
And
because fairies can't have babies, so they steal the babies and then they pass them off as to be raised as a child.
Yeah.
So that's their only source of finding love, is to be replaced.
Yeah.
So when Hellboy gets rid of that, he's like, fuck Hellboy, and then that's it.
So yeah, so it was kind of weird. And other than that, his CGI was terrible.
Oh yeah, especially when he got big. Yeah, it was really bad.
Just really bad.
It's all bad.
CGI was just terrible.
Anything that was practical was good. Like Baba Yaga was practical, and I thought she looked great.
Yeah,
she looked fucking gross, disgusting, and I thought it looked awesome.
Yeah.
Hellboy I thought looked really good too. But Baba Yaga is where I really saw the practical effects at play, where I was like, yep, it's too bad not more of it couldn't have been practical.
Right.
Like I know Guillermo del Toro's version was a lot of practical.
Yeah. The first. Well, I think the second movie is where he shines, where I didn't watch the second movie in the recent times.
I watched the second one a long time ago.
But it's where he shines in his creativeness with the monsters.
Yeah, because he didn't follow the comics at all.
Right, but that's when he brings in a lot of monsters in the second one. The first one only has one monster. That's it. The first one technically had like 2 monsters, 3 monsters, but it doesn't really have that much. Has basically
it's got those frogs, those big frog things.
Yeah, and so basically those frog things, they just keep reproducing.
Right.
And so it's the henchman and the villain in the movie and the frog things, and then one big like urchin, like the sea urchin kind of creature, and then that's it. So that it wasn't really much.
And then the big tentacle thing at the very end.
That's what I'm talking about, the tentacle thing at the end.
Oh, okay.
So that's it. There's those frog creatures and the tentacle thing. There wasn't really much playing around with like creatures and stuff in this movie. In the original Hellboy. So, and he did use a mixture of practical effects and CGI, which I said, like 2004 looked fine. Comparing to this movie, they look almost exactly the same, and that's a problem.
What I didn't care for in this movie, I know that his father figure had to die. It's just kind of weird the way they did it here. Like, it was like, pull the sword out of the stone, and then he's like, no, and then, killing your dad. And then to get him angry to pull it or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just felt a little weird. I don't know what it was about it. I guess I was just so stuck on the comic one that the dad pretty much dies so early that you mostly know who the dad is through flashbacks.
Right.
And even in the Guillermo del Toro movie, he dies pretty early on too. So it was already weird seeing him so long in the movie.
The Guillermo del Toro one,
he gets killed by the Nazis in that one.
He gets killed by the villain basically. Yeah, well, he is a Nazi technically. Yeah,
the Clockwork one.
Yeah. What happens is that Ron Perlman's character, Ron Perlman's Hellboy, is so love struck and like he gets jealous because the main character is like the agent that got
the rookie
that got assigned to him is on a date with Liz, so he leaves the base to go like spy. And while he's gone, his dad dies.
Damn, that's an Uncle Ben moment right there.
Basically.
Damn. Okay, it's coming back to me a little bit.
Yeah. And so it was just really like, what the fuck? You know?
Yeah, it's a little weird. The thing that kind of threw me off was the way Alice talks to the dead people. That like the dead person like comes out of her fucking mouth.
But what's that?
I have no idea.
What is that? That's like she said it at one point, but I didn't catch on what it was.
Yeah, I don't really remember what it was either. I was just so weirded out by how that is. That's not in the comics at all.
Yeah, but slime and like it makes me.
Yeah, it's something they added, but it just looks so bad. Especially when Ian McShane does it at the end.
It looks terrible.
It looked so. That was probably the worst CG of the movie. Was probably that with his fucking floating head that made no sense with anything else.
It looked terrible.
It looked really bad. But I did like the conversation they had where he's pretty much, again, going back to his son, stop being a little bitch.
Yeah. It was basically the same thing. Like, stop being a bitch. And I'm glad I saved you. I'm glad I raised you.
Yeah. I love you. Kill this bitch. I'm dead. Boo-hoo. Grow some balls. Like,
yeah, it was good. It was.
You know, the more I think about their tough love thing, I really enjoyed the tough love.
And the thing is, it made sense. It made perfect sense.
Because his occupation was to kill things, not really like he never was a dad. It made sense. He's a soldier trying to raise a kid.
Yeah.
He doesn't know the first thing about that. So it makes more sense.
And in the original, like, it's not the same. Like, his dad is a lot older.
Right. It's kind of weird that they didn't show why he aged, but whatever. Yeah. His dad was supposed to be a lot.
No, it was like 60 years, basically. He saved them like in like, you know, it's like current day, and he saved them during the Nazis. So he's like old as fuck.
Yeah.
And he kind of protects Hellboy.
Yeah.
He like watches. He's more loving. Like everyone is against Hellboy.
Right. It was John Hurt. I do remember him being more loving.
Yeah. He basically has him like,
which is probably closer to the comic version, actually, the more loving version.
He has him kind of like locked up, but for his own good. Like, don't escape, don't cause trouble. Like, I'm trying to protect you, kind of thing.
Right. Oh, that's the other thing, because in this world, they don't know about him.
They do know. They kind of know about him, but not really.
I do remember that.
Like in the Ron Perlman Hellboy, is that they people see glimpses of him, but they don't really know about him.
Oh, okay.
But he keeps them locked up because he keeps escaping to go see Liz and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so he keeps them like locked up because like you people can't know about you because we need to keep you like, because the government is funding us. But then you're also like fucking shit up. Like you're releasing monsters or like fucking like, it's kind of like the Avengers. Like you're working for the government, but you keep like fucking the road.
Oh yeah.
It's more like Incredibles.
Incredibles.
That's a good word. Yeah. Where like you keep fucking everything up.
Property damage.
Yeah, property damage and making a ruckus. And you're supposed to be government funded. Like we can't have you be doing that. So it's kind of like that. So they keep them locked up in a way.
Okay, that's probably another reason why I didn't really care for the first movie.
But yeah, he's more loving, but then his character is so caught up on Liz, and they were kind of raised together. They don't really have chemistry. It's just kind of like they were raised together, and it's weird. But let's go back to the new movie because we're here talking.
Oh yeah. Well, one of the things that I liked that the movie, though the remake did, was it actually just treated Hellboy the way pretty much the whole world knows about him. Like, he's out on the street. He's out like people kind of look at him and be like, "Oh, okay," but no one goes, "Oh my God, it's a monster."
Yeah.
So it's just like every day he walks into places. He can go into a cafe. He can go to a fucking Starbucks, and no one's gonna go like, "Oh my God, this guy's like a monster."
They'll give him a look, but they won't like.
They'll give him a look like, "Oh shit, that's fucking Hellboy."
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's not like shocking, which is what I liked about it.
Yeah.
Because that's how it is. That's one of the things that threw me off about the comic. That I'm reading the comic, and I'm like, no one's reacting to this fucking red dude just going into people's homes and like helping them. Like, it's just common knowledge, and it's never explained how it's common knowledge that he's like that.
Yeah.
But the movie treated him the same way.
Yeah.
Which is probably the other reason why he didn't have the same angst, because he doesn't need that angst because they know who he is.
Yeah.
From the original. Oh yeah, so with the pep talk from the dad, he pretty much just decapitates this chick like nothing, and then fucking calls it a day. It was like bam,
Yeah,
bam.
once he does grab the Excalibur, so obviously the demons and hell opens up.
Yeah, that's true.
The terrible CGI, obviously, on that part.
Yeah, it kills the shit out of people in the most goriest ways.
Yeah,
and that was some Silent Hill level shit.
And I'm pretty squeamish when it comes to blood. I'm just like, I like either look away a little bit or like slightly like close my eyes because I just can't stand the sight of like even blood. So it's just like hell opens up and they just fuck shit up until he pretty much says like, no, I'm not this. I'm not Hellboy, the king of demons. Basically.
So funny, this is the moment in the comics where he's supposed to die. So Nimue releases, hell or whatever, and she's about to like take over the world, and he kills her. But as she's dying, her ghost like rips his heart out. So they pretty much kill each other. And then he's like, well, I'm fucking dead. And then he goes down to hell, and that's a whole other storyline. So from this point on is the BPRD from a separate comic that has to deal with the hell on earth like fiasco. And that's where you get all the other characters. So this movie pretty much combined both series because it was Hellboy in his own adventures and it was the BPRD in their own adventures. So
overall, I thought it was a good movie. I do agree that obviously there's a lot going on. We just said it, like literally, it's from like King Arthur to the fucking to
the giants, the fairies, the witch.
There's clearly a lot.
Hell.
There's clearly a lot going on, but if you're paying attention, it all connects. It all connects. It all makes sense
as long as you treat it as it's not taking itself seriously.
Yeah,
and that's what it is.
Yeah, I just thought I really thought it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. I just wish there would have more. I mean, there's a lot. That's the thing. There was a lot in this movie, but I kind of liked if they were going to put in the team aspect, I would have liked to have seen more of the actual team. But I guess this is supposed to be the beginning of the team. So they're probably going to start recruiting more after. Like here, you see they're going to recruit Abe Sapien. That was one of the after credit scenes. And did you wait till the very, very end? Like the post credit scene?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much Baba Yaga.
Yeah.
Yeah, Baba Yaga talking to someone that's like unseen to go hunt out to hunt Hellboy. For the comic book readers, that's like a character. He's like this soldier that never fucking dies. He can't die, and he's like unbeatable. He kills everything, and pretty much he does jobs for people that promise him that they'll kill him. So the witch was pretty much like, kill Hellboy and I promise you'll die.
What about the other scene where it was like him at the grave and he's visiting his dad? The Nazi guy.
Oh, Lobster Johnson.
I don't remember that other scene, the one that you just talked about.
Oh, then that was the final credit scene. You didn't see it. It's after the credits completely.
It's after what I just saw? With the one the
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't probably see that one then.
Well, okay, yeah, you're talking about the Lobster Johnson scene. So that's pretty much he's like a World War II hero. He's like their version of like Captain America.
Yeah, I figured.
And Hellboy like grew up with those comics and the show, but what really is, like they use him as propaganda, but he really was an actual hero that fought. Yeah. So that actually was one of the first opening scenes when they showed the flashback to him being born. He was in there. So I thought that was kind of cool. So yeah, he's a reoccurring character as a ghost in the comics now. Like he helps out and shit like that. So it was kind of cool. So again, it's more world building. Like they set him up so that he can be in it later.
Probably, yeah.
And the actor that played as him was actually Thomas Hayden Church. He's Sandman in Spider-Man 3.
Oh, okay, yeah, he is.
Because I'm like, fuck, I know that voice. And at the end, when I saw the credits, I'm like, there it is. So yeah, it was really just a lot of world building for a trilogy of movies.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it kind of sucks that there's not going to be. Obviously, there won't be a sequel.
There won't be, and it's unfortunate. I feel like this movie, strangely enough, this movie's going to be a cult classic years later. I think so.
Yeah, I think
people look back at it and go, maybe they were too hard on it.
I truly think that they were. Like, I know that superhero fatigue is a thing, and we've seen so many good ones.
Yeah, and technically this counts as superhero.
Yeah, but it really wasn't that bad. Like it was, I really don't think there was anything bad other than CGI, and maybe
other than definitely the CGI was bad. But I admit it's bad.
Yeah, and maybe.
But to me, it added to the campiness of it,
and maybe the story being so heavy.
Yeah.
Other than that, honestly, like maybe you cut maybe a couple scenes and this is a solid movie.
If they would have worried less about making sequels and just worried more, at the end of the day, it probably still wouldn't have gotten the same views. So fuck it, throw in all that you wanted.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like I said, like people were really like hard on this movie, and they kept comparing it to the Guillermo del Toro movie. And I only saw the first
I think that was the main downfall.
Yeah,
That from the get-go, nobody gave it a chance
because it's not
Guillermo del Toro. Everyone wanted a Hellboy 3.
Yeah.
And Hellboy 3 production turned into this.
Yeah, and I don't know. Haven't seen the Golden Army in a while, basically since it came out. So I don't remember it really. But the first one wasn't that amazing either.
I know. I don't know.
The first one Hellboy wasn't even the main character. The agent who gets assigned to Hellboy is the main character.
Rookie. I remember
and
that.
And then he doesn't even come for the next sequel. And
they write him off in like one sentence.
It was clear. I felt like this movie with the Hellboy was inspired by the Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like he was like the Peter Parker without the superhero powers, and then Hellboy was his like Spider-Man-ish.
Yeah.
And so it was just really just. I mean, it came out a long time ago, 2004, so I can't really compare. But it was just also very just 2004 superhero movie.
Yeah, I remember thinking that too. But
but like I said, I did line wise, like writing wise, like line wise. It's. I think Von Perlman has a better delivery. He's more wittier.
I'll have to watch it again.
And David Harbour's character isn't witty in this movie.
No.
But the thing is he's so caught up with his like teen angst of his like what's going on with his dad, and there's so much going on in the movie. He doesn't have time to be like.
Yeah, and his jokes are they're bad jokes, but they're like really bad jokes on purpose.
I did like that Capricorn joke. Where he's like, we'll never work because I'm a Capricorn. You're fucking nuts. Like,
you're fucking crazy.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. That's probably it, honestly, from line delivery wise.
I did like though he was portrayed very like I like a crazy playful, like when he pisses off Damio at the end to turn him. He's like, come on, man, let it out. And he just punches him. He's like, blah, 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 blah. Come on, let him out. And then he just fucking morphs and he's like, that's what I'm talking about. Like,
what I did like,
he feels very like team player.
I liked, I guess I didn't have time about what we did like about his acting and his character was, I liked how he wasn't in control of like his strength in a way.
Oh yeah,
he kept breaking his phone.
Oh man, that actually was a really good ongoing joke. He's like, oh damn it!
Yeah, he kept breaking his phones. He pushed the elevator. He was that's when he goes see
he went to go see Baba Yaga.
Baba Yaga, and he keeps punching the elevator. And like
it's not working. Yeah.
He's clearly like too strong to be like in this world, basically. And so he has to function like a delicate flower sometimes. And I thought that was pretty funny. I thought that was actually pretty cool.
Yeah. But overall, call me fucking crazy, but I think this was better than the Guillermo del Toro movies.
So far, I think I'm not gonna say Guillermo del Toro was better now because, like I said, I haven't seen Golden Army, and I'm thinking that's what people are like. This is like top tier,
right? They are. You're right. People do say the second one is the best
because I think the first one's very standard.
Yeah.
There wasn't. But what's good about the first one, the original Hellboy, 2004 Hellboy, was Ron Perlman's character. The line delivery was fine, was great. The story's consistent. There's not much going on. It's pretty much the same thing, like Nazis.
Yeah.
Nazis.
They stuck to one storyline.
Yeah, one storyline. And
it's easy to follow.
Basically, the Nazis in the beginning come back, and they just they want him to become the apocalypse. Basically, submit to the demon inside of him.
Yeah.
And then that's pretty much it. And then that's it. Yeah. And that's the storyline, basically. So it's pretty easy to follow. It's not hard.
Yeah.
So as a viewer, it's easy to digest. This one is pretty hard to digest. But like I said, I gotta watch the Golden Army. And I'll probably watch it and I'll probably get back to you guys maybe in a sense of like really quickly. Do they compare? Like, because it really did bother me that people
I actually
like,
do want to see them. You said you saw the first one like on Hulu or something,
on
right?
Netflix, I believe. On Netflix.
I'll give it a shot because I do want to see it again. Make sure. I remember not thinking either of them. 1 and 2 were okay.
It's just like for anyone to know, like you guys can look it up on your phones, but one of them is on Netflix or Hulu, and the other one's on like another service. Like they're both
separate.
not on the same service.
I hate when they do that.
If you have both or 3 services, you'll find them. Prime, Hulu, Netflix, they're on either or.
Yeah.
So overall, good movie.
But I mean, that's about it. Well, actually, the last thing, they finally bring in Abe Sapien. That was the setup for the next movie.
Right.
That's never gonna happen.
That's not gonna happen.
It's like, hey, we got Abe Sapien back. It's kind of weird seeing the BPRD without Abe Sapien because he is the leader of it without Hellboy. But whatever. they wanted to, just throw him in there to be
in the comic, is he's so like, because in the my only interpretation of him was Hellboy original, and he's like bookworm, kind of just like not really a fighter, kind of just like the scientist.
Oh, I mean, kind of, but not as extreme. I think the Guillermo Hellboy really put him in that, like he actually could fight.
Oh, okay.
And he was book smart, and he was still like a scientist, but no, he could definitely hold his own when it came to fighting.
Okay, cool.
Like he was very well trained. So.
Yeah, it would have been a good movie. It would have been a good action movie.
Yeah,
but
maybe in another universe.
I do think that once this is over, who knows? Like maybe I think it should be a show. Like after watching this movie, I 100% agree that it should be a show.
Yeah, but it's not gonna happen for a long time because think about it. They did the movies, the Guillermo movies. They didn't get their third movie that all the fans wanted. They did this reboot. It's a failed reboot essentially. And are they going to do a show right after this? No, it's going to be time, because if not, the show's going to flop because they're just going to compare it to, here's another reboot. But people are going to have Hellboy fatigue at this point.
Yeah, maybe. I can see that. But
if it happens, it's got to be another fucking 10 years. Maybe 10 years is pushing it.
Maybe 5 years.
Maybe 5 years.
But I could easily see it, like, even if let's say I picked up today or tomorrow, I can see Netflix doing it right. For example, like Dear White People is a movie that came out and was a movie that became a show on Netflix.
Which one?
Dear White People.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So what they did in the Netflix show.
That's right. They did make it into a show.
For like a few episodes, they're following the movie. Like it's the same plot line from the movie, and then it changes to like their own thing.
Oh, that's weird. They followed the movie. Okay.
Yeah, so they follow the movie like beat by beat. Obviously, different actors playing
that's very strange.
Yeah, and then they divert and they make their own like storyline. So I feel that like, especially with the movie Hellboy, the movie being so much, I feel like they could make a Netflix show or
absolutely
Amazon show, and then just make this longer and just drag it out a little bit more, give it more exposition, and just make it a proper show.
Definitely.
So I do think that there is a good story to be told here for sure.
Yeah. I think that's about wraps it up. Overall, we already said what we thought about it.
Yeah, solid. I do think if you guys should go check it out. Obviously, it might not be in theaters for long. Support it. Hopefully, support it enough for it breaks even, and then maybe someone thinks about picking it up. I do think there's a good, especially with the way this one was told and the potential it has. I really think in this vein, in this style, there's something good here. So I really think you guys should support it.
Yeah, I think it'll be a cult classic later on for sure.
Yeah.
Alrighty then.
All right, guys. Later.
Bye-bye.